Hey there guys, welcome back to Treadmill Review Guru. Today we get to take a look at 3 of the top rowers on the market. These are my favorite rower in each different category. So right here you have the Concept2 Model D. This is of course your classic air resistance rower. It's preferred all over the world. It's great, simple, sturdy, lightweight. We also have the CityRow GO, which is a water rower. You can see you got the water tank down there, and it does have a touchscreen with subscription content. So this is a fun one as well if you're looking for a water rower. And then we have the Hydrow, which is a magnetic-based rower that has separate magnetic resistance levels and of course includes that nice touchscreens for subscription content. So let's take a closer look at each one and see some of the features and specs and who they're best suited for. Let's take a look at some of the similarities between these 3 machines. So as you can see, a rower does take up a rather sizable footprint. You do have to have room for that track to just kind of the seat to slide back and forth. So your footprint on the Concept2, it is the longest of the 3 machines at 96 inches long. So it's actually quite a long machine. It's only 22 inches wide and about 45 inches high. So that's your footprint there on the Concept2. Coming here to the CityRow GO. This one is about 10 inches shorter. It's only about 85 inches long. It's a little wider with that tank in there. It measures about 23 inches wide, and it also comes in right about 45 inches high. So back here to the Hydrow, this one is roughly the same footprint as the CityRow GO. So you're about 86 inches long. It's about 24 inches wide and about 45 inches high. So you can see that each of these consoles are roughly in line with each other, including the PM5 over there on the C2 with that little phone attachment at the top that can hold your phone. So they do require a sizable footprint. However, the C2 will fold up, the CityRow GO will fold up, and the Hydrow can be stored vertically if you have, if you buy a separate storage kit. So you do have that option. Let's compare the weight differences. So the C2 is the lightest machine. It's only 57 pounds. So it's really easy for me to lift and move. I mean, seriously, one hand. I love the fact that it is such a simple functional machine and it has an impressive weight capacity, but it only weighs 57 pounds. The CityRow GO is a little lighter. When it does not have water in it, it's only 75 pounds. When it does have the recommended amount of water in it, it's 112 pounds. But once again, not super heavy. Most of the weight is up there at the front, so I can lift and move it when I need to. It does have rollers there at the front. The Hydrow is by far the heaviest. So it has a full steel and aluminum frame, and it weighs about 145 pounds. So I can lift and move it. This one's just a little bit heavier, and as I mentioned, it doesn't fold up. So that kind of gives you an idea on the different weight of each machine. The seats, I measured each seat and they're actually quite compatible. So the CityRow GO is probably my favorite of the 3. I just really like it. It has a little bit of texture here at the top, and it's just a little more padded, has a little more give in it. All 3 of the seats are 10 inches deep and 12 inches wide. So they all measure the same. They all have the nice contouring, so you got a little bit of room for your tailbone there, and then some leg contours here in the front. So, you know, you're not gonna go wrong with any one of them, but this is my favorite seat. I do like that. Another thing to be aware of is the distance from the floor. So the Concept2, from the floor to the top of that seat is about 14 inches high. So, you know, you just have to sit down just a little to get on that seat. The CityRow GO is the lowest of the 3. And so you just have to be aware of how far down you're gonna have to sit to get on that seat. This one's 10 inches off the floor. So just something to be aware of. And then the Hydrow is about 17 inches off the floor. So just a touch higher than your Concept2 as far as distance from the floor. The rail length is roughly the same on all of them. So they will support up to 38, 39 inches of inseam. So they should work for most size users. And they all have roughly the same length of handle. So on the C2, you can see the handle right here. It is 19 inches across. The main difference on this one is it does have the vents in the middle. If you want to do like a single arm pull, you can kind of thread your fingers through there, and that's an option. The CityRow Go has an 18-inch handle. So, and I actually probably prefer the contouring on this one a little better. It's more of an oval shape, if you can see. So for me, with my hands, it's a little easier to hold. And it has the belt drive, so just a touch quieter than the chain drive. And the same with the Hydrow. The Hydrow handle is the same length as the Concept2. You've got 19 inches of length. Does not have the vents in the middle, so you really only have the two options, but it is gently padded. And like the CityRow Go, it does have that belt strap. So, and then obviously the biggest difference between all of them is the programming content, so we'll jump into that in just a minute. But let's take a closer look at some of the specific features. Let's start off with the Concept2. This is probably the one that you're most familiar with, often just referred to as the C2 machine. This is the Model D. They have a Model E, which is roughly the same footprint. It's just a little bit higher, so it's easier to get on and off that seat. But the Model D is kind of your classic rower that most people use. This is a air rower, so a few things to be aware of. It's louder. It does make more noise, and that is something that you'll want to take into account. It also does have the chain drive, so that's a little noisier as well, but it does not require electricity. So that's probably one of the best features about it. You just put this machine where you want it and you start to row, and that PM5 display will turn on. It looks very simple, but the PM5 monitor actually will sync with other. You can upload your data, you can compete with other rowers. This is the one that's used in rowing competitions all over the world because it is so consistent between rowers that the drag factor and everything can be calibrated to make it so that you can engage in competitions even if you're not in the same country. It does have the damper here on the side, so you can see right here, this is your air wheel, and it spins in there, and you do have the damper, so you can kind of adjust that drag factor. And then it has unlimited resistance. So that's another thing that people love about the Concept2 is it will work for rowers my size, and it will work for your toughest CrossFitter athlete, right? This is what they use in the CrossFit games. You cannot outrow this machine. So that is one reason why people absolutely love it. It does fold in half. It can also be stored vertically. So that kind of gives you an overview of the Concept2. Moving on to the CityRow. If you are familiar with water rowers, this frame design is going to be very familiar to you. This was designed in conjunction with Water Rower, the company. So you'll see a lot of similarities there. Your tank up here has to be filled. And so they recommend filling it to level 17. The highest you can go is 19. And it creates a very smooth sound when you're rowing. So this one kind of has the most natural feel. And people who row outside, who actually like to get out on the water and row, this is a preferred rowing machine for them because you really do get that feel of the water. I'll demo for you in a minute how it sounds, but as that water churns, it's just a very soothing sound. As I mentioned, this really is probably my favorite seat of the three because I find it to be the most comfortable. And the nice thing about the CityRow Go is it has included that touchscreen with subscription content. So if you're more of a novice rower, maybe you're not a strict competitor, you're looking for something a little more endurance training, low impact cardio, this is a great option because the touchscreen and the content provide engaging things that keep you motivated. They provide guidance and tips on good rowing form. So it's a great option for beginners all the way up to experienced rowers who like the feel and the sound of being on the water. The Hydrow is a magnetic rower, so it's a little different. The magnetic rower, one of the main benefits to this is that it has preset resistance levels. So you can kind of adjust the amount of resistance in there and the rower will respond. You do not have any resistance levels on the CityRow Go. It's just as hard as you pull, you churn that water more or less. And so it's a little bit more of a rhythmic kind of a row. This one is a little more specific. You could do some more specific targeted training, things like that. And it's very quiet. So that's the other thing that's nice about magnetic resistance. There's no friction points. It's an extremely quiet machine. And once again, it does include that subscription content. It has a very nice touchscreen. I would say of the three, the programming and the touchscreen is the nicest on this one. It has the best graphics. It's very clear, it's very crisp. And the thing that I love about the Hydrow is all of their, well, not all, they do have some where they're not out on the water, but most of their programs you're out on the water. So as you're listening and you're watching, they have professional rowing instructors who are out there on the water. They have good videography, so you very much feel like you're having an immersive rowing experience. The CityRow GO, all of the programs are filmed in a studio, so even though it's good content, it's not quite the same. You do get the feel of and the sound of the water from the tank, but not from the programming itself. So I do like the programming on the Hydrow, probably the best of the three, and it's a very smooth machine as well, and just kind of easy to use. So that kind of gives you an overview of the three different rowers. Like I said, they're kind of the premier one for each different type of rowing, for your air rowing, your water rowing, and your magnetic rowing. So I'm down here on each of the rowers, and I'm gonna take just a few minutes and row so you can kind of get an idea of how the rower sounds and how it looks with somebody on it, kind of compare between the three. So I'm starting here on the Concept2. I do love the fact that it has that little attachment for my phone at the top. I can pull up my favorite rowing program, whichever one you prefer, and you've got it right there above that monitor. The other thing that I really like about the Concept2 is that the footboards have these adjustable notches with numbers in the middle. So I always know I'm on a 3. That's where I want to be, and it makes it real easy for me to set up. You also do have that damper on the side. So the PM5 is battery powered, so it does not require a plug. You can see as soon as I start rowing, that monitor turns right on. So it is just a little louder. And of course, the harder you pull, the more noise it's going to generate, because the more air gets sucked into that flywheel. All right, so that kind of gives you an overview of the Concept2. You do have those adjustable straps, so they should work for any size shoe. So I'll come over here to the CityRow. This is your water rower. It also has the adjustable straps. However, it does not have the numbers. Kind of wish it had the numbers. It just makes it easier. Not a big deal, but one of those things. And I just have a Just Row program going. So it's going to give me all my metrics there at the bottom. So you can see this is a little quieter, and I really do like the sound of that water. So just kind of listen to the water. This isn't the kind of noise that's going to bother people. Certainly not neighbors, and probably even not roommates. So that kind of gives you an idea of the CityRow. So let's come over here to the Hydrow. This one's a little easier to get on, simply because it's just higher. And it does have the numbered notches on those footboards, which is nice, and of course your adjustable straps. So the one difference with this one is it is quieter, and you do have the adjustable drag factor programmed right into the screen, so you can modify that resistance as you need to. I also really, really appreciate the programming on this one. So that just kind of gives you an overview of the three machines and how they all look and sound. Each of these rowers is going to appeal to different people based on what you're looking for. So we recommend the Concept2 to people who are looking for high intensity interval training. Maybe they're incorporating rowing into an overall program, a CrossFit program or something like that. It's very good for heavier rowers. You can't out row it, so stronger rowers, this is exceptional. It doesn't require electricity, but it is a little louder. So it's a great rower if you're gonna put it in a basement or a garage. You can set it up anywhere, and it will be an awesome catalyst for developing all the benefits of rowing, right? The CityRow GO we recommend for people who either are experienced outdoor rowsmen, like they like to row outdoor, they like the feeling and the sound of that water tank. It's a very smooth, rhythmic feel. So we recommend that for people who like to row outside, and then maybe you're looking for some engaging content on top of that, right? You've been rowing a few times and you want some classes and content to keep you engaged. That's fun as well. Be aware on this one, your price tag is going to run you just over $2,000, and then the subscription content is $29 a month, so that is something to consider. And then the Hydrow we recommend for people who are looking for really engaging content on a quiet machine that has those preset magnetic resistance. It's just really nice to have it all integrated into the machine. Like I mentioned, it is the best kind of touchscreen content overall experience. So if you are maybe a rowing novice and you want the benefits of rowing, but you're kind of starting from scratch, this is a great option because they do have those professional rowers that really provide guidance and feedback as you're rowing. So each one of these should kind of appeal to a different group. The Hydrow is the priciest of the three. It's going to run you about $2,200, and then the subscription is $38 a month. So just a few things to be aware of. I think the Concept2 is usually right under $1,000, and then of course there's no subscription that is required. So depending on the different kind of training that you have, basically maybe where you plan to put the rower, and your experience with rowing might affect which machine appeals to you. But hopefully this overview has kind of given you some insights into where to look and where to start if you're in the market for a new rower. So if you'd like a detailed written review on each of these, make sure and check out our reviews at treadmillreviewguru.com. For current pricing, we have links below. Please click on those. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear your experience with any one of these machines. So please leave it down in the comments. And if you liked this video, subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Again, my name's Kristen with Treadmill Review Guru, and we'll see you again soon.